Most entrepreneurs are always looking for the next thing, the next deal, the next business, or the next venture. While that's necessary in the eat what you kill landscape that drives entrepreneurship, it also causes many entrepreneurs to be looking toward the future instead of being grateful for what they already have. Well, our guest today is going to tell you how she took her business from $0 in revenue to $10 million in a little over 7 years. She's also going to tell you why she owes all of that to gratitude, and how that can change your life and your business. Stay tuned. Part 1 is coming up next.
Welcome to this edition of Peak Performers Podcast with your host, Thor Conklin. Thor will be sharing the necessary tools, strategies, and psychology you'll need to become a peak performer in any area of your life or business.
Thor Conklin here. We give you the tricks, the tips, the tools, the strategy, the technology, and the psychology peak performers use in order to get more done and execute at the highest level. If you know what to do but struggle with getting it all done, or simply want to raise your game to the next level, this podcast is for you. Sit back and enjoy.
Today's guest is Bernal Cleek, founder and CEO of EHR Concepts. In addition to being featured in Inc. magazine several times, April was also featured in the Wall Street Journal in August of 2015, as well as the winner of Best in Biz, Best Woman-Run Workplace of the Year by the International Stevie Awards, and the recipient of the Barack Obama Lifetime Achievement Award. April is also a single mother of 4 and has a new venture on the way. So, if you want the tips, tricks, and tools to taking your business to the next level, or learning how to be a better parent, then keep it right here. You don't want to miss today's inspiring episode.
April, thank you very much for joining us today. I am looking forward to this interview. We had the chance to spend the weekend up at an amazing retreat, and now 2 days later, we get to talk and do an interview. I am very lucky.
Oh, I'm the lucky one. Thank you, Thor. Thank you for having me, and I'm excited to share with you and to talk and hang out for the next hour.
Oh, this is going to be fun. I didn't realize, actually, this weekend that we were actually doing this 2 days later, or we would have been talking about it.
I know, I didn't either. But you know what? We were able to just have some fun and hang out as friends, and now get to know each other even more.
That's right. Now we'll just get down to business. No more of that friend stuff. We're like, this is business stuff. Well, you know, one of the things I really, really enjoy about doing this podcast is I get to learn such interesting things about the people I'm interviewing. And I've known you for a number of years, and I had no idea that some of this stuff was your backstory. So you've got this company over, 7 years. You built it into a $10 million empire. Year one, just like all businesses, right? We have no revenue. It started from zero. Everybody starts there. And in just 7 short years, $10 million. And then you go back a little bit further than that, and that's where I want to start. You're a waitress. And some guy comes in and says, hey, would you like to do some business with me? Start us off there.
Yeah. Yes. So it was actually back in 2004. And I was waiting tables at a Carrabba's. And the owner actually wanted me to become a proprietor and own Carrabba's. I did not want to do that, nor did I want to wait tables the rest of my life. But there wasn't a lot of options as far as work environment on where I was living at the time. So to be honest, I really didn't like my job. And I kept hearing other people say, how about being thankful you have a job, and being thankful that, you have this, that, and the other. And it's until you have that revelation yourself, you don't want to hear that. But the long story short, Thor, I'll be honest, I was waiting tables. I visited a church, and the pastor says, how about tomorrow being Monday? You go to work and you be thankful. And you're thankful for your colleagues and for your work environment, for your boss. So I did. I decided to just go in and start being thankful. And I kid you not, that very week, one of our regular customers came in to me and said, what do you want to do for a living? And I said, oh, I don't know, maybe pharmaceutical sales or medical sales. And I didn't know what I was talking about. A former roommate of mine was in that industry, and I thought it looked cool and glamorous. So I just threw it out there. And he said, well, how about training doctors all over the world on medical software? And I was like, absolutely. Yes, I could do that. So the long story short is he got me a job. I was 24 years old. It was 2004. And he got me this job. I'm flying to DC. And it ended up being a contract with the Department of Defense teaching electronic health records. And fast forward to launching my firm, not until 2010, and I don't want to get too far ahead of time, but that's kind of where it all started. And that is the premise of my company today is electronic health records and across the country. And so who knew that being thankful could make such powerful plays in your life, but it has been a key component that day when I walked in and decided to be thankful. And that door opened. Every single door since then has come from a place of gratitude for sure. So that's how I got into electronic health records. That's how it went from waitressing tables to where I am today.
It sounds like a Hollywood movie, or at least at the very least, a good country song.
I know it should be a good country song.
Exactly. I think we need to let's see. We need to find a country artist, and we need to talk to a producer in Hollywood and get this thing on the big screen.
Exactly.
She grew up poor. She was a waitress, and
yes.
then out of nowhere.
Well, and I really didn't. I didn't. It's so easy for people to assume that, especially when you've had, quote unquote, what you would call success. And in the minds of a majority of population, they think success equals wealth. And I don't personally believe that it equals wealth, because I had a very successful upbringing and a family, and I appreciated that, but I didn't come from much. And I watched my parents work very hard, and I've worked since I was 13. But I don't ever want to forget where I came from or how hard I have worked and what I've had to sacrifice. But it was very humble beginnings, and I'm grateful for it. And even my children, I want to teach them what it takes to work hard. And anyways, we'll get to talk about more how I believe and how I see things. But yes, I grew up with very humble beginnings.
It's interesting because there's a common theme in just about everyone that I interview, and that is, everybody sees the success at the end, and everyone assumes that it's just kind of an overnight sensation. It's like, oh, you're so lucky, it happens so quickly. And what they don't see is, the years and years of just hard work, grinding it out behind the scenes. I was talking with Jeffrey Gitomer, who's an incredible New York Times bestseller today. I was actually on his show. I was privileged to be on his show. And we were talking about this. He goes, everybody sees him in front of a room and getting, $100,000 to do a talk. And they go, look, you don't remember or didn't see in the 80s and the 70s and the 90s where he was just, going from speech to speech, in his car and just trying to make things happen. It's always a theme, that people don't see that. And I think it's such a disservice to a lot of young entrepreneurs because they think that it's just an automatic success ritual of, hey, get up one day, raise a bunch of money for some people, and then the next day you're successful, and then you sell it, and then you're off to the Caribbean for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. From 2004 to 2011, honestly, I pounded the pavements. And I was on a plane every weekend and traveling and going to hospitals and learning that, the healthcare IT world and being a consultant. And I lived on the road. And in those times, I sacrificed my family. I sacrificed starting a family. I sacrificed weddings and parties. And, I had to do what I had to do. I unfortunately was the only breadwinner in my home. But I tell people it came with a lot of sacrifice. And then when I did finally start my company, I worked my butt off to get a paycheck to then put it into the company so that I could live off of peanuts and pay my staff. So I would live off as little as possible so that I could hire people to pay them to help me kind of get this off the ground. And so then I'm working like 3 jobs, let's be honest. You know, I'm working to pay the bills, I'm working to start a company, I'm working to manage everything. And then never mind, you know, starting to have children and everything else. And so, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's just a lot of dedication and it's a lot of hard work. It's fun and it's exciting, but it definitely comes with its highs and its lows, and nothing happens overnight at all.
Yeah, I was talking to someone recently, and it was an executive that was going out on his own to create his own company, and he was going to raise some capital. He had put together a business plan, and in that plan was basically a salary that was comparable to what he was making in the corporate world. I'm like, no one's going to fund you. No one's going to fund you because they do not want to take their capital to pay your mortgage, to continue your lifestyle. They'll make sure that, you know, you've got to live, right? But you got to make some sacrifices. They want to invest that money in the organization. And there's this, I know that there's this misconception of, you know, let me just continue the same lifestyle just because you put in your time. Doesn't count. If you're starting a new company, you've got to scrap. And like you said, you got to take care of those around you so you can attract great talent.
Yes. Yeah, that is one of my most important aspects of my company is my culture and who I hired and how to take care of them ideally, which we can get into that a little bit more. But exactly, it's not about you. It's just like, it's not about me. And I think in every day that I have been a business owner or started other businesses, or even now, every time I live for somebody else, whether they're an employee or my client or a give back project, that's when you really enjoy what you do. And that's where it's worth it, because it's not about me. It just never has been. And I think as soon as people make it about themselves, that's where the struggle gets real.
Nobody does that. No one listening makes it about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, no entrepreneur in the history of the world has ever made it about themselves. Maybe one or two.
Right.
You know, you said something interesting to start off the interview. I want to go back to that. And that was, you know, where you got into a state of gratitude. And I think it's so misunderstood that you can be grateful and should be grateful for what you have, and at the same time yearn for more. Be grateful for everything in your life and still have goals and dreams and aspirations. They're not mutually separate. Just wanting to grow and expand and create more, and at the same time being grateful for where you are, aren't in conflict with each other. And I think a lot of people struggle with that they avoid gratitude because they think they have to give up on their dreams and what they want in the future.
Interesting. You know, I absolutely agree with you. I do. I agree with you. I love the way that you just kind of frame that out, because coming from a place of gratitude for me has not only been being thankful and present in the moment, specifically when you're going through a difficult time, rather than focusing and meditating on the tough time that you're going through, find the thankfulness in what you have and focus on that regard. But thankfulness in the regards to vision and future aspirations, I believe that is where the magic happens. That's where you're thankful for what is to come. You're thankful for what you see in the future. You're thankful for basically what you're reaching for. And I mean, it's just the power of gratitude it's life-changing. So be it present or future, it truly is it's life-changing in general.
Yeah, I believe God, the universe, whatever your belief system is, that it responds the same way that we as humans respond. You know, if you go up to someone and say, hey, thank you very much for all that you do for me. I really appreciate it. And, you know, if there's anything I can do for you in the future, just let me know. That person is going to do more for you going forward. At the same time, if you go to them and they do something nice to you and they go, this wasn't nice enough, wasn't good enough. Nah, I'm not happy. What are they going to do? They're going to turn around and go, I'm not going to give you anything else.
Right. Yeah. Isn't it interesting, though, that we live that way? In general, and we don't realize that we do. Like, we don't realize that we complain, or we don't realize how ungrateful we are. We don't realize. But if we would just change our perspective and look at things in just a place of gratitude and living life gratefully, I'm telling you, our lives would radically change overnight. Everybody.
Yeah. This is going out to over 100 countries. There are some people listening to this broadcast that may not have food tonight. There's some people listening to this podcast that are flat broke. There are some people in some very difficult positions right now.
Yeah.
But the majority of the people that listen to this podcast live in the United States. You got nothing to complain about. You're able to listen to this. You have a phone. You have a computer. You have something. What we have here in the United States compared to so many people around the world, billions and billions of people, the very fact that we were born and it had nothing to do, you didn't do anything to deserve it. Well, maybe you did something to deserve it, but you were lucky enough, graceful enough to be born in this year, in this period of time, and in the United States. I mean, man, you got so much to be grateful for.
So much. And I mean, you're right. Like, unfortunately, sickness is real. Death is real. Divorce is real. Hunger is real. But again, like, the fact that we, have a friend, the fact that we can, go to a food pantry and find food, the fact that we have, for the most part, a roof over our head, the fact that we have fresh air to breathe, the fact that we aren't from a dictatorship, like, there is always something to be thankful for. And not only that, but it's not this pie in the sky, like, oh, I'm just going to walk around and be thankful. But it's like, and you know this, but as you practice gratitude, your soul and your spirit start to become at peace. Your mind starts to go to a place of rest. When trauma happens, like, your mind wants to keep you in that place of trauma and reliving it. Well, if you just replace it with just one simple statement of being thankful, I'm thankful, or I'm thankful for this, or I'm thankful for that, then all of a sudden your mind can have time to calm down and your body comes in, to a place of rest and peace. And anyways, I know we started talking about gratitude, but it is just so powerful. And it really has transformed my life back from that place of not liking my job. And I'm sure there are plenty of people listening to this that don't like their job. How about just start being thankful for it, if nothing else?
Yeah.
Just be thankful that you have a job.
Absolutely. Or a business. Many entrepreneurs, struggle. It's like, look, the business is not producing the income that they want. The employees aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. It's a grind, and very often as entrepreneurs, you get into this attitude of, hating your own job or your own business. Mm-hmm. So, and it's good business too, right? Don't you want to be around people that are grateful? They're infectious. They have an energy to them. Yeah. We were with a group this weekend, an amazing group of entrepreneurs that were so giving. Yep. So much so I ended up with a 5 foot or 6 foot caterpillar.
Yes, a colorful caterpillar.
A colorful, yes, a rainbow 6 foot caterpillar that now I'm being asked to drag around the world and take pictures with it. I had it strapped into the car in the passenger side.
Did we name her?
Amber.
Amber, that's right.
Yeah, Amber. Yeah, because the other unicorn was Misty. We won't go into details here.
Yeah.
So I had it strapped into the passenger side, and I went to get gas, right? I stopped in and got some water, and then I was outside. I was getting ready to go, and this guy gets in the car next to me and looks, and he's like giving me a weird look and looking away. I'm like, what's wrong with this guy? Then I notice I've got a 5 foot caterpillar strapped into the car in the seat next to me.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny.
I'm waiting for somebody, somewhere to catch. I have a fairly decent online presence. I know that's going to show up. I'm going to be like on stage one day, and someone's going to be like, "Hey, here's the caterpillar." Thor's date.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. And the moral of this story is have fun, be silly, and who cares?
Thank you so much for listening today. I really do appreciate your time, and I hope you found today's show valuable. If you would like to receive these shows automatically to your phone or to your computer, simply go to iTunes and subscribe. After listening to several of the shows, if you're so inclined, please leave us a 5-star rating, as this helps us reach additional people and spread the message. If you're truly committed to taking your life to the next level and doing whatever it takes to become a peak performer, but something's holding you back, something is blocking your way, and you just can't seem to figure out what it is, send me an email to info@thorconklin.com, and I'd be more than happy to get on the phone with you. We'll schedule a 15-minute discovery call. No obligation, no cost. I absolutely love to hear from the listeners, and if there's something I can do to help, I'd be more than happy to do that. Also, if you found something of great interest in today's show and you want to share that with your friends and family, simply go to my Facebook page, Thor Conklin, click on the episode, hit the share button, and share it on your page. You can follow me at Twitter at Thor Conklin. The website is thorconklin.com. We're constantly adding new free resources, discussing additional tricks, tips, tools, and strategies on how to be a peak performer. Remember, I try to keep these episodes short so you can listen to them during dot time, doing other things, commuting, driving, walking, working out. Decide to be a peak performer in all that you do. And until tomorrow, have an absolutely amazing day.
Be on the lookout for part 2 of our conversation with April, where she tells us why you should pay it forward, as well as how generosity made her millions. I'll see you guys on another edition of Peak Performers Podcast.